you and me as an artist, we begin to decide what finished means, right? For some people, it's hyper rendered realism. Ugh, you know, I don't like it, right? Boring. It's just take a photo. Who cares?
Yeah.
Some people love it, you know, and that's perfectly fine. And I don't mean to offend. But for me, it's not that I know when it's done, because it's never done. It's more that it can go forever. It's just more that I'm going to abandon it at some point. Hello, man. Juan, how are you?
How are you doing, man?
I'm great.
Okay, glad to hear that. So, where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Ohio.
Okay.
In my studio apartment. Dude,
Nice.
all those drawings look so cool.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
Oh my god.
Thank
Dude, I love it. I'm jealous. I miss drawing on paper.
Yeah, right. Well, you're going a little bit ahead here in the talk in the interview, but
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll stay quiet.
no problem at all. So, you're mostly a digital artist, right?
Lately, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I've seen your graphite sketches, and they are amazing. They are fantastic.
Muchas gracias, hermano.
Por supuesto, por supuesto. So there's nothing to envy. I mean,
Yeah.
really, I love the looseness of those lines. I mean, looks fantastic. So
Thank you. Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Argentina, nice.
It's
Cool.
somewhere next to Brazil, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Have you been to South America or?
Not yet. I was supposed to start with Colombia and then visit Peru, but COVID happened, and here we are. Yeah.
Crazy.
There's a school in Bogota that I was going to do a workshop at for like drawing, and it got ruined because of COVID. But
yeah, what's going on is it's completely crazy.
Yeah, but it's getting better.
Yeah. Here, in South America, we have our own times, you know. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It will take a bit longer, but it's okay. We are used to it, I guess.
Good luck, man.
Yeah. We shouldn't be used to this, you know. But yeah, that's how it is here. So did you go to art school? Did you study by your own? So what's
yeah. So you know, my whole life I was drawing, you know, comic books and you know, cartoons and anime in high school, you know. But when I graduated from high school, I actually went to computer science engineering, and I hated it. So I dropped out to do art. And so I started going to small classes of like life drawing, figure drawing. I wasn't learning much. I'm mostly self-taught when it comes to drawing and painting and light and color. But I did end up going to art school in California at Art Center College of Design for concept art. So I think most of my drawing and painting knowledge is from what I've sort of just taught myself or watched videos or, you know, tried to copy master paintings and Sargent studies, Sorolla and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And from there, I learned concept design at art school, and it strengthened my abilities.
Okay. So do you think, like these days, is it, I mean, I know there's no obligation, there's no one way of doing things, you know, but would you recommend going to art school? Would you recommend, you know, like spending time on your own, doing your research on books, YouTube, like what would you, I mean, because one little thing here, something I think it's important, you know, there are people with more, people with less discipline, you know, more or less organized.
Yeah.
So I think that's important in that equation, right?
True. Yeah, I think okay, if I go back in time and I have, let's say when I'm 17, 18, because back then we didn't have YouTube or anything like this, right? But let's say I did. I had YouTube, Schoolism, online, Instagram. Let's say that was available. What would I do? I think I would probably not go to art school, and try to learn as much as I can on my own, because of how expensive it is. However, I don't know how far I would have gotten because of the discipline aspect.
Mm,
So I think I ideally have some kind of group, whether it's weekly meeting or figure drawing group or something that maintains discipline.
yeah,
And I think the main benefit of art school for me was not just learning about design theory, but also you're there with your friends,
yeah,
or enemies too, right? But it's like you're going to war with people, and you're all struggling and suffering and pulling all nighters, and that you it's like a catalyst boot camp to learn really quickly and effectively. But it's not absolutely necessary. If there's a discipline issue, I think having group accountability, joining challenges, joining some kind of online group session where, hey, this is what we're doing together. There's nobody critiquing your work, but hey, at least we're all in it together. So, yeah. If you have the money, sure, go to art school, but it's not absolutely necessary, is what my opinion is.
yeah, yeah. I always, I always tell my students, I play the guitar, and
Me too. Yeah.
I'm 31 now. I've been playing for 20 years. Like,
Wow.
yeah, like a long time, And I remember what you were saying. I mean, I didn't have internet. It's not that I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have internet. And I was already playing the guitar. And I remember those days in which I would, I don't know, do skateboarding for an hour, maybe. I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then I would play the guitar, I don't know, for 6 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Something that today I think doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, kids, they're just on their phones.
Yeah, and I feel the same too. I can't stay, too many hours during the day doing the same thing, because we have, I don't know, the phone with the lights all the time. We have the news coming,
It's interesting you bring that up, because I think growing up during our time, because I'm 33 now, not having internet and easy access to distractions was a benefit, an advantage for us.
For
because
sure.
Even like you said, even now I'm distracted all the time.
Yeah.
If I want to sit down and finish my sculpt that I just started, it's like,
Nice.
It's going to take a lot of I have to disconnect my internet, shut down my computer, and focus on the sculpt.
Yes.
And so I think we had an advantage. If anyone's listening who is young, pull the plug on your internet and see how much you can get done. It's actually pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly that. I was thinking, when we didn't have internet and YouTube and all the tutorials from all around the world, you had to think how to solve the problems by your own.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Like now we have a problem and we go to, okay, how to solve it. Right? And I think, again, something I say to my students is, I'm trying to solve the problems to them by giving them tips on realism, on how to make the shadow, or how to make the volume and everything. But I also tell them, I can't solve this for you. I'm giving you the best advice I can, but you will have to, fight that problem on your own.
Yes.
You can't absorb the knowledge without going through that, the struggle,
It's like your job as the teacher, like in the Matrix, is you can show them the door, but they have to walk through it, or like climbing a mountain, you can tell the student where to put their hands, but they have to climb and do it themselves.
Yeah.
Quick question. What do you like to play on guitar?
Well, I have my moments. I'm a big fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I used to listen to them, Sean Frusciante, when I was like, So I'm a big fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, Jimi Hendrix, Steve Ray Vaughan, all that, Eric Clapton, Eric Johnson, all that era. Then I studied jazz. Then I fall in love with jazz rock, fusion, which is a little bit more like a jazz, but with a bit more, distortion and more modern,
Sure.
like Aldi Meola, Return to Forever. I don't
Mm,
know. There, yeah. And now I'm going back to I'm listening more like John Mayer. I'm
okay.
more relaxed. I want to hear a
Sure.
melody. I can sing. I can play very very relaxed, and I'm listening a lot to John Mayer. But I play whatever I feel like playing. I like by
Nice.
play, and I like what I love the most is to improvise.
Yeah.
Um,
Same.
like to I don't know, put a backing track or a song, and it doesn't have to be great music. It can be
Mm.
a Justin Bieber song with a great melody, no problem
Okay.
at all. If I
Ah,
like the melody, I would play Justin Bieber and then play the notes and the chords and try to find
beautiful.
yeah. So
Electric, acoustic, classical, nylon.
well, I know I play mostly electric.
Okay.
I like
Cat.
yeah, I have a Panther here.
That's a panther.
um, I play mostly electric, but with a very clean tone. It's not that I'm playing, heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Beautiful.
I also have, the Godin, the guitar, the Godin is
Mm.
an electric guitar with nylon strings.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
nylon but plugged and sounds very, very like beautiful. It
Nice.
sounds very, very nice. So yeah. Like I few years ago, I understood um, that I mostly made like me, my personality, and myself. Like I'm built. Of course, I'm a complex, as
Yeah.
girls are, but I have three very distinguished things I do, and one is music for sure, guitar, play
Yeah.
guitar. If I have 30, 31, and I've been playing for 20 years, it's like one of the main, ingredients.
Yeah.
The other one is art and especially
Right.
drawing, which I do since I have memory.
Yeah.
That phrase should be, like it's said everywhere. Like I draw since
Mm.
I have memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
it's
love it.
true.
Yeah.
And working out or doing sports and
That's what I need to do.
okay,
Because
okay,
I do art and music. I've been working out a little bit. I just need to get back into it.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
very cool to hear. Yeah.
yeah. If you take one of those out of me, which had happened, like being injured and not working out, or being injured and not being able to draw all the time every day, I feel like, yeah, like you said, I
You're
feel
not complete.
like
Yeah.
I'm not centered. I'm not, where I have to be. Uh,
Mm.
yeah. So
Well, if I ever visit Argentina, we're gonna play guitar, we're gonna draw, we're gonna play some soccer or football, as you say
yeah,
it.
yeah. Sounds perfect.
Vámonos. Okay, cool.
And we're going to have some good food,
Oh, por favor,
Yeah.
please, man.
Yeah.
Like here we have hamburgers and pizza and some Chinese. Oh, dude, some good like South America. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're
Yeah.
supposed to talk about art or drawing or something, right?
No. This was about food, guitar, and working out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So um, here I have a few questions. I mean, I said I was going to be recording this talk with you, and everyone started sending me questions for you. So yeah, it was crazy. I didn't expect that, but I have like two kind of questions here. Um, I I've been following you for years now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love what you do. And not only that, I love what you say. You have videos speaking about what happens uh, even further than the drawings. You talk a lot about your feelings and how you
Mm.
are and how you manage what happens to you. And for me, that's a big thing. So I have two kind of questions. One is more technical, like
Sure.
I don't know, drawing, anatomy, all that stuff. And the other kind of questions I have here is more about the mindset and how to
Sure.
manage, So let's start with the easiest, which I think are the technical, or
Sure.
I mean, yeah, like for instance, why girls? That's yeah. I mean, I've seen you drawing guys too, but
Yeah.
I I could how you say try to answer. I mean, I see the lines, the very soft lines you work with, and but I want you to maybe.
I was thinking about making a video about this actually. I've always had an obsession for a long time with why, for the female face, why is it so pretty? What's cute? Why is it doing that? And why is it such have a effect on me? And so, like, for the longest time, I would sit there and do measurements and try to figure out the exact length of the cheekbone and like the ratio of the triangle of the nose, eyes, mouth. Like I wanted to perfect it. And I think because of that, I don't really care so much anymore, but because I've done it for so long that my natural warm up is just, it's usually that. Plus I like girls, but that, recently I've discovered this Instagram page called Earth's World. And it's this guy who goes to, do you know it?
Yeah, man, I know it.
Yeah. Okay. So
amazing portraits and faces. Oh,
like forms pushed, pulled.
yeah.
And I think that's my next frontier, my next mountain to climb, because I've done the pretty stuff. I've mastered it to where I want to be. But I think next would be learning and exploring all the, like just that drawing you have on the easel there with the scrunched up face, like beautiful. And
right there.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like I'm missing out on doing that stuff. I still like drawing girls, granted, especially the mermaids. Love it. Sexy girls.
That's the last thing you've been doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. It seems to be, it hits all the notes, like, of everything I love to do. So painting, colorful paintings, girls, and fantasy. So mermaids are fantasy. It's like, oh yeah, that's all me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been saving your stuff. I mean, I have a folder in my computer with a reference from artists, and I have a folder. Yeah, for sure. You're there.
Mi corazón. I don't know.
You have. Tenés buen español.
Un poquito, pero yo sé que hay muchas palabras que yo no sé. Y creo que tengo que vivir en un país que habla español para que yo learn better.
Yeah. Man, we're from now on only Spanish, okay?
Oh, vámonos.
No, just kidding.
But I think if I lived for like a year in a Spanish-speaking country, I could probably carry a conversation.
For what I've heard, I'm sure about that. I mean, yeah, for sure. So going back to the drawings. Now, my next question is: I've seen these last pieces, and my question is: how much reference pictures do you gather before, making one of those drawings and paintings? Do you have, for instance, like reference for the color palette? Do you have reference for the shapes of the, how do you say this, the tail of the or the water and the reflections.
So sometimes I'll just sketch without reference and whatever, but I think all of the pieces I've posted so far are with reference. And I do have a vast reference library of bodies, different lighting, poses. And especially from Graffiti Studio, they send me all the reference packs so I can promote it. So definitely I use reference all the time. And with color, if I could just share my screen real quick.
What's the name of that the studio?
Graphite, Grafit Studio.
Uh-huh.
And they have an Instagram. They're a concept art studio, but they also shoot a lot of reference,
Okay.
and it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Um, Host disabled participant screen sharing. I cannot share my screen. Uh, well, what I was going to show you is for color. I actually I'm recording a lecture for my course that I'm doing, and I have it open right now. And
Oh, I think I can make you host, and you
oh, sure,
to share. Let me see. Uh, yeah, right there.
okay, sure. So it's funny you ask because this is my lecture that I'm doing for my course right now.
Oh, amazing. This is great.
Yeah. So my recommendation to anybody who wants to get good at colors or have the color palette is to take this template where you have the full color spectrum from very saturated at the top and desaturated at the bottom, and find images that fit in all these spots. So now what I can do is just, let's say I have my sketch ready, but I don't have a color palette. I look at here and kind of see which speaks to me the most for the drawing. And I could just have it on the side and just borrow the colors by maybe doing a quick study of the photo, or, just doing a color palette blob based on what I'm seeing. Or there's a technique of the photo bashing stuff. So there's a lot of ways to do it. But for me, I like to have a full range of color examples that I can just pull from. So you can see that most of my taste is up here in the very saturated, not so much down here in the gray, but maybe that's something I need to work on for myself.
Wow, that's nice. So one question about what you are showing. I hope this is getting recorded. I don't know if the screen.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
One question: do you have like a layer over the pictures with the color in multiply or something on some mode that gives color to each picture, or you choose the picture with the right color and paste it over where it should be?
Are you asking if there's a layer over these photos or my paintings?
No, the photos, the photos.
Oh, no. These photos are as is. I haven't changed them at all.
Oh, okay.
But let's say, down here, let's say I do want to make this more green because it's about under yellow and green. There is a layer mode that I like to do to harmonize and push and pull colors.
Mhm.
So if I make a new layer and I use a clipping mask on that by just hovering over and pressing Alt, and I can fill that with green. Let's actually bring back this. I'll go up here and say, well, I want it to look more like something up here. I can just grab green and use the airbrush. It doesn't matter. And with overlay, just fill it in. Too much, I know. And then I can lower the opacity to bring it down a bit.
Okay.
But now it's got that green color statement.
Yeah.
And so I've done that to reference photos before to push and pull. I've done that to my own paintings.
Yep.
And what's cool about this is you can just move this around on here,
Yeah.
and have infinite range of colors.
Yeah. Yeah, so I see a lot of reference pictures there. So the question is, do you make, for instance, one, with different references, do you make one reference that gathers the pose, the color, everything, and you like draw or paint that? Or you mix everything, separate everything, and then you put it together in your painting, not in a...
Yeah, it's not always super linear because I have like many reference boards. Like I haven't looked at this in a long time. I just brought it up because I'm recording it for a class. But like I'll have a reference board specifically for fantasy characters, or another reference board specifically for style. And, I'll have them both open, and it's very organic. Nothing is structured like, oh, I'll pull this from that, or I'll pull here from here. Or oh, that would be cool. It's very playful, right? There's no, I guess, how do you describe it?
Like a method.
Yeah. I wish I had like some kind of structured method for everything, but actually I have an example here of a reference board.
Mm-hmm.
I won't zoom in down here because they're nude models. I don't know if that's okay.
Okay.
But for me, it's like, I don't know what I was trying to do. I think I wanted to study the compositions here. So I wanted to understand why these pieces feel impactful, and I wanted to do a painting based off of them. So I'll have this on my screen on the side and kind of just do my own thing and then peek over and say, oh, let me pull a little bit from this, a little bit from that. And when it comes to color, I'll, just take a main color and put that underneath my sketch and just rough it out and then push and pull the values from there. So yeah, like, and I've forgotten about so many of my reference boards. I make so many of them.
That's very nice. That's yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah. So the work you share on your account, is it personal work? Is it client work? Do you work for? I'm not aware if you're working for a company, for a game.
Yeah, so all of this is personal work. Well, most of it. I used to work as a concept artist for movies and games. The most recent would be Guild Wars 2. So I did some concept characters for that for a while. But all of this is mostly personal work. Some of this is for like a class that I got paid to record. But then stuff up here, like this was specifically for NVIDIA. So they hired me to do some tutorials.
Okay.
But yeah, like no client work aside from that. It's all personal. It's kind of whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, okay. So, do you have any routine, in your day, or like to work, to draw? Like you wake up, do you have your coffee? Do you watch references? You have already an idea from the day before? How does it work for you?
You know, at the age of 33, I should say yes to that and say, yeah, I have a routine. I wake up at 5, do a quick run, and come back home, quick shower, do some warm-up studies. But no, it's
solved, right?
yeah. Although lately I've been doing some more structured way of working, but because I have to get things done, and I'll show you something in a moment how I do that. But if anything, I, if there is any structure, yeah, I wake up, make a latte, some coffee. I don't usually eat in the morning, just the coffee. And I like to warm up with some sketching, whatever that might be, while watching something. So having a YouTube video or podcast or a Twitch channel, somebody playing Bloodborne or Dark Souls or something. But in terms of structure, I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab something.
Yeah, sure.
So what's helped me, as I hate schedules, I hate structure and all that, but I had to do this where I had to plan out my whole course. And so I got this like magnetic whiteboard and these little just cheap Amazon magnets to write down what I need to do. And so all of this I need to still do, and I can move it over. And when it's fully done, it'll be over here. So, I still have like so much, I don't even want to look at it, but this has been super helpful as someone who hates schedules. So, that's as close as I get to any kind of routine or managerial anything.
Yeah. So when you say like warming up, warming up.
Warming up.
What do you mean exactly? Like warming up your muscles, warming up like your ideas, and also what happens with those drawings? Are those good drawings? Nobody watches those drawings. Like what is it exactly? Or what's the result?
Sure. Well, it's never always the same, but lately, as an example, every Wednesday I have Reference Wednesday videos. And so that's an example of what a warm up could be. Like I'll, grab a reference pack and have a randomizer. So it picks random images and I just draw and you're right. Like, so for me, it's the motor controls. When I wake up, my hand isn't connected with my brain. I have to kind of just get the S curves, the C shapes, the shading, the control, right? You don't have that control right away. So they're bad drawings. They're not good, They might be good, but as you know, there's the warm-up phase, and after 40 minutes, like, this stuff is really good because you have the authority, the command, the confidence in the brushwork or the pencil work. So warming up motor controls, drawing figures from reference. Sometimes it's just like drawing spheres and rendering the light and the core shadow, maybe adding like details or a smiley face on it, just anything to get me going.
So I think everything what we have been speaking and what you're saying about warming up and lines, and I think it's connected to this question, which is, how do you know when to stop? Since you have this very loose but precise work, like I see your work and I see everything when you see it small, very rendered and with the highlight and the details and everything. But when you zoom in, you can see the sketch lines and you can see that actually it's pretty loose, right?
Yeah.
So how do you know when to leave it there?
So for me, after a certain point of studying and gathering knowledge and how to do the thing, you and me as an artist, we begin to decide what finished means, right? For some people, it's hyper rendered realism. Ugh, I don't like it, right? Boring. Just take a photo. Who cares? Some people love it, and that's perfectly fine. And I don't mean to offend. But for me, it's not that I know when it's done, because it's never done. It's more that, like, it can go forever. It's just more that I'm going to abandon it at some point so I can move on to something else. And actually what I like to do is have, throughout the day, 3 or 4 different things I'm working on, and I'm juggling between them. Right. So, if anything, when do I leave it or think, or just, say that it's done for me, is when I'm zoomed out, does it look finished? If so, then okay, I can at least say that this is a finished piece from zoomed out. Because when you go to the museum and you look at a John Singer Sargent from far away, it's like, oh, that's very rendered. It's so realistic. You go close up to it. Oh, it's just big brush strokes. Nothing's finished. And I love that. It's like, I'm not interested in the hyper real, like, very careful detail. I think there's a place for it, and I might do it in certain places, but where I am in my art journey now, it's more that, does it have the impression of gold shininess? Does it work? Cool, leave it. You don't have to go further. It's more that, like, at a glance, does it look like the thing I'm trying to make it look like? And then I walk away.
No, I totally agree. I mean, the example you gave with Sargent, that's what I'm in love with, and for before I even knew it, going to the museum and getting closer and not understanding how that looks so good from far away, like I try to think, while I draw, like, about all we are talking about, I try to think and understand how I feel and how it works. And my last thoughts about this are that I'm not only judging by the result. So I'm not only judging by the look of the painting, but by how I feel. Like, for instance, like, I don't care if it's completely finished or it looks completely finished. It has mistakes somewhere, lines I didn't like, whatever. If I feel I have to go somewhere else, if I feel that drawing or painting taught me or gave me what it had to, like, it's like, I try not to judge so much on the end result, but on how I feel during the time, while doing it. I know it's I mean, it's not easy, it's not for everyone, and that's how things are in the whole world. Like, there are no right or wrong. I think we have different moments in our development as an artist or craftsman or musician or whatever. And I think it's okay at the beginning to try to reach some kind of result, or to be able to judge by an end result. But as you go further, things change. At least that's what happened to me. When we start drawing, we want the detail, we want the realism, we want perfection and all that stuff. And at least that's what happened to me. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I totally understand what you're saying, and because a skill, and I'm going to call it a skill, that I had to learn recently is, well, it might be because of social media, but let's say I'm working on a painting, and in my mind I'm doing this painting for Instagram, and I think it's fine to do that sometimes, but as an artist, that kind of contaminates and poisons the process, and it feels right. And so what I learned recently is that the moment I start thinking about, I need to mold it to be popular on Instagram. The moment I think that, no, step away.
Yeah.
Work on something else. Sketch on something else.
Yeah.
Because if I want the piece to be truly me, I have to take that out of the equation. And so the strategy is to walk away. And I'm sure all of us as artists have had this feeling when you post something and, a month goes by, weeks go by, whatever, and you look at it and the mistakes or things that you would change are obvious. Like, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. So what I'm doing now is giving enough time and space for my artwork so that I can look at it again after a couple of days, because I used to be like, I have to do this now and post it now. And now it's like I do something, and it's almost like a process in that a painting takes at least 3 or 4 breaks between to look at it fresh and say, oh yeah, I'm going to change this. Because if you try to cram that all into the first session, it's miserable. Nobody, I get goosebumps. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Now that was me for the last 5 years trying to do that every time. So as a new skill, I'm trying to learn like, no, I'm going to take advantage of my ability of seeing it after a couple of days instead of trying to rush it. So
yeah. So how did social media and Instagram, especially, I think, I don't know if, well, you will let me know if you too, but because I know you are very present on YouTube, but social media in general, did it change the way you work? How was it before social media for you?
Yeah, that's it definitely changed things. Because if you think back to when you and I were teenagers, 17, 18, the artists that we looked up to, for me, it was J. Scott Campbell, comic book artist, Joe Madureira. When they made art, people didn't see it until the comic book came out, right? And so even before that, before we were alive, when Norman Rockwell, J.C. Leyendecker, when they made their artwork, no one saw it until the gallery show, or the magazine print, right? And so those artists weren't they probably had pressure because it's going to be seen by people, but it wasn't the same day, And so I think what social media did is, let's say for Rockwell, it's like making a painting, showing at the gallery 30 days later. Instagram took that and said, okay, all of that in one day.
Yeah.
And so for me, that really messed up my relationship with art, because it became about, creating something to show at the gallery fast before it's too late. They just posted. The other guy just posted. I'm behind. So, if we put that same kind of pressure on John Singer Sargent or Sorolla or Zorn, like, I'm sure they too would have felt this anxiety and pressure to keep up. And I don't think any artist should have to deal with that so much, because social media is new. It's very new for humans. Yeah. And I think now you and I and people watching this, we're learning how to navigate this. And I think the solution now is limiting our exposure to it. Maybe ideally once a week, and then like somehow overcoming that feeling of missing out. And because within that week, you could do so much beautiful things. You can explore, you can learn, you can fail. Social media doesn't let us fail as much because we gotta. And I think, it's a double-edged sword, because social media made me be able to do what I'm doing now. I can get support online and share my work and get connections and have a conversation with you. But at the same time, we need to learn, at least I especially need to learn, to step away,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I've been hearing that more and more lately.
Mm.
Yeah, I've been, talking with several artists for these talks, and I hear for like the same thing. I have to, not post every day because I'm getting crazy. I have to, like I talked the other day. I was talking with Thomas Fluharty.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, and he told me, he sent me an email because we were, I don't know, talking via email after our talk, the interview here. And he told me, yeah, I will see this or answer next week because this week I'm off from social media. And it was, and it was, wow, like 1 week. That's
Right.
that's a lot, but I'm hearing, yeah, and not only from artists, and not only from people making a living out of, I don't know, showing stuff in social media,
Yeah.
but from everyday, people that takes, I don't know, some pictures and whatever. My brother, he does whatever else, and he's like, no, I have to leave the phone, I have to leave Instagram for like even people that don't use it as a working,
Yeah.
tool,
I think there's a certain thing that Instagram and the internet does that is a bad thing for us, and that I don't know what your childhood was like, but for me, when I was a kid, me and my brother, we get on our bikes and we go, and we're gone, right? The whole day, we're out playing, getting in trouble, being where we shouldn't be,
Yeah.
stopping by the food mart to get some Coca-Cola. It was fun times, right? But there was a disconnection from the nest of safety being home, right? Now that nest of safety is always with you because you have the phone. So kids never get to experience that exploration, that wonder. And so now when I go on a walk, I leave my phone at home.
Yeah.
It's like I want to be me again.
Yeah.
And as an artist, especially, like what would you do as an artist if you were disconnected? And if you don't know, you have to maybe discover that, like disconnect for a week, 2 weeks, a month, see what happens. It's scary because I equate the internet to an umbilical cord. It's like you're always connected to the mother that's always keeping you safe and keeping you from feeling like you're missing out. And it's like, oh, let me just check real quick. Like always looking down.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think like one of the feelings, I'm not talking about work here, but more like social life or what's happening in the world. One of the feelings I have when I'm away, from social media is like if I was, like you said, like losing something very, very important that's going on, oh, I'm missing, there must be happening, something must be happening, I must know, or like when you leave the phone for an hour or 2 hours and you're thinking like you're going to receive the most precious phone call in that hour. It's not gonna happen in that hour. So relax, leave the phone. It's not that hour,
Come back to one notification.
yeah. So you said social media, or something, you correct me if I'm wrong. It's harder for us to show our failures in social media. So we all have those. We all have bad drawings or whatever failures, how do you manage those? Like, what do you do with a bad drawing, bad day? How you work with that?
Well, I mean, I guess before I answer that, like going forward, ideally, what usually resonates with a lot of people is starting with your online presence of, hey, watch me mess up, watch me be a failure. I'm going to document my process of learning, so there's that. But for me, it's like, I don't know, if I do a bad painting or a drawing, and if it's hard to say that, because even the bad drawings I can learn from, right?
Yeah.
But on the stage of social media where there's the judges, with like the cards, like 10, 8, 7, boo, yeah, right. It feels like it's a stage, like you're going up. I think it's an unhealthy way to look at it, because you might completely discredit your failures, because, as artists, we know, as a musician, you learn from the failures. You mess up that scale 1,000 times until you get it right. But I think we have a lot of pressure to keep up. And so you never show the failures, and you only show the final, like, oh, okay, I mastered it. Here it is. Am I safe?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I guess I do post some of my raw art here and there that doesn't have polish. Like today, I just put up a sketch of my friend for her birthday, and yeah. She's in somewhere, maybe Argentina. Anyway, somewhere. But for me, it's like, just be okay with people not loving it. For the longest time, I wanted the judges to be like, "Oh, wow, yes, you're the best, congratulations."
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, when I do post something like the Golden Mermaid I posted 4 days ago, got the most likes I've ever gotten. It doesn't feel good or anything. It's like, oh, I did it.
That's
okay.
It.
Now what? That's it.
Yeah.
And then they keep scrolling to see other things. It's so pointless, after a certain point. Because I mean, some people are trying to do social media to make a living. I understand that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to. Again, I think I'm good at giving advice, but not,
Yeah.
but I think it's good, to see the full movie, like how to say, like, the full movie as a piece, and not each one as a success or a failure. Like, you can't. And another thing that for me is important is not to buy, the failure or the success from one piece. Like, you are not a failure or a success because of one piece. Like, you post a drawing or a painting you like, and it's, or you don't. I don't care, but it's nobody likes it. So doesn't mean you're a failure. Like, simply, I don't know, didn't have the movement you wanted to have, or the exposure, or whatever. That's it. You are not that. So I think that's similar to what I said before. How to not caring too much about the final result.
Right. It's the journey.
And like you said before, like, even failures, you can learn a lot from failures. So when you said that, you were talking about the process, and not just the final image you reached. So that's one of the ways I try to think about it too. I end a piece, a drawing or a painting, and I if I don't like it, it's an oil piece, and maybe, okay, I feel a little bit more comfortable with the brush or with the oils or what, and that's enough. I don't have to have 100% on each, on each, because that's, a lot of pressure.
Well, I think that makes me think about two things, actually. I don't know if you've seen the video. It's an old video from Walt Disney, where they take 4 artists and they draw the tree, and you have Ivan Earl.
I haven't seen that.
It's a great thing. So they take 4 Disney artists, they go out into a field, and each one draws the same tree and they interpret it differently.
Yeah.
But when you watch them, they're just, and it's like they're in the flow state, like they're dancing with it, like, and it's like kind of like, as silly as that might seem, but there's that is the beautiful part about it, not the finished look. I mean, Ivan Earl, he does the amazing tree, but when you see him in it, like, you could tell he's in a different place. That's what being an artist is, not the whole presentation, like, is it good enough, please? And the second thing is, you've studied and played jazz. Like, jazz isn't about playing the right scale perfectly right there. No, it's about feeling it, going through it, and then collaborating with the other musicians, and like, you look over and you nod, and you just get really into it.
Absolutely.
It's not about the final crang, right? No one cares. It's about being in the moment. It's like a dance.
This is so interesting for me, because again, I see this a lot with my students. Sometimes they are like stressed up, stressed with the drawings and the lines, and if the lightness, and I say, don't, like, put some music, have your cup of coffee, draw, be happy. Everything has to be as good as it can be, for sure, but enjoy the process, because we don't have much more. Like, that's all that matters.
My friend.
Sorry.
My friend here, his name's Steven Davidian. He's helping me edit my videos for my course, but he's a sculptor. He wants to get good at ZBrush and all that stuff. He said this morning he was trying to sculpt, and he was so frustrated because he's like, I thought I knew this. I thought I could do this. And he had such a hard time and trying to force it to be good. And I told him exactly that. I'm like, when I'm doing my reference Wednesdays, when I'm doing life drawing, I don't care. I'm watching something. I'm having music playing. So I told him, like, just put on a movie. Just whatever happens here, it doesn't matter. It's the mileage over time that matters. Because the more we try to polish this golden egg, the worse it looks.
Absolutely. That's how it is. I mean, I think one of the keys, or something important, or something that helped me, again, this is something I tell my students, because they think I don't fail, I don't do bad lines, bad drawings, but that's not. I'm not scared about failure. All that doesn't work like that. The fact is that what really is that I'm fighting those fears all the time, every day.
Yes.
So maybe I'm a little bit more used to fighting those, but it's not that I don't have those.
Oh yeah.
And something like playing with or talking about numbers here. If you do just one drawing in, I don't know, a month, it better be a good drawing, because you are going to be, But if you do, I don't know, one drawing per day or every other day, you have a new chance and a new possibility very soon, to do it better. Yeah. So less pressure, or at least that's how I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which goes back to another thing about him. Now that you mention it, because I was trying to help him, like, with the learning process, and he kept doing studies. Of course, studies are important. So I let him borrow my skull. I'm like, hey, do a study of this. Cool. But he was so focused on one piece. I'm like, okay, well, I think there's a problem here. So I gave him 30 reference images. I'm like, do them all. Like, you have as long as you need, but it does not have to be good. You just have to do them all.
Yeah.
Let them be horrible. Let them be bad. Yeah. But I promise you, if you do each one, you'll learn something.
Yeah.
Right. But if you stay in focus on one, you'll start attaching your self-worth to it. Am I a failure? Clearly, it's not the best. Other people are better. So I'm like, just do 100, 30. But and that's why I always really champion this idea of like filling your sketchbook, like just with anything, flowers, skulls, people. And on my channel, I have the 100 heads challenge and the 500 hands challenge. And it's like, you learn so much from it.
500, sorry, what, hands, you said?
So I have 100 head challenge and
Yeah.
500 hands challenge. Yeah, I did it. It's like 72 hands per day.
Oof.
Um,
Oh,
Now, I've already studied hands, but I was like, well, I can't just give them the challenge and not do it.
yeah.
So I did the challenge. I learned so much from it,
Oh,
like all the subtleties of how this part of the thumb does this, and
yeah.
like there's always new things to learn.
Oh
But
man, that's like hands are always tough, like for
yeah,
everyone, It's so, it's so, I don't know, so frustrating when you see like a painting you like, like I don't know, maybe a portrait or whatever, and you like, and you see the face and the body and the anatomy, everything, and then you see the hands and the hands are off, and you say, oh,
yeah.
oh,
There was a quote by Ian McKeag, who's an amazing artist,
yeah,
said in his Gnomon DVD for visual storytelling that when you're drawing, if you can get the head and the hands to look right, they'll forgive you for everything else. Everything else is fine. It can be horrible, but if the heads and the hands look
yeah.
good, you're good.
Yeah. So how do you study, or when you, I don't know, used to study anatomy? Because you said you draw without reference sometimes, and I see your drawings, your figure drawings, and they are in perspectives and different angles. And how do you study that?
Okay, yeah. So a couple of things. So when I went to art center, I had a class called analytical figure drawing as well as imaginatomy. And it's kind of like this. So I'm not going to show you the front because it's so bad. But we had to do an armature écorché of a skeleton, so the bones, and we baked it. And after it was baked, we had to put the muscles on one by one.
Okay.
And just doing that, like, taught me everything I know about anatomy. And I've studied anatomy before, Bern Hogarth, Bridgman, like the deltoid and
Yeah.
stuff, and figure drawing. But doing it with clay forced it to put the forms
Yeah.
and the volumes of all the muscles. And I know where they're supposed to connect to the humerus bone or the radius or the ribs, right? So that's one thing. I highly recommend getting some cheap clay, some wire, and make skeleton, put some clay, put some
Yeah.
muscles. You'll learn so much. Now, when it comes to drawing from all these different angles, what I like to do is come up with a mannequin. So I actually have a gumroad on this. So it's the mannequin technique. It's basically just a bunch of cylinders connected. And if you can draw cylinders in perspective, you can, or with this, it's like you can replace it with a face, with arms, with the collarbone, and put muscle on it. So it's a mix of, carefully sculpting the muscles, but also practicing what they would look like from different angles on the cylinders.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one final here. So what would be your advice for young Ahmed?
Oh,
Yeah, that's a tough one, right?
yeah.
Like you're in your 20s or before.
For art or for life?
I think both are
Yeah.
connected, right?
Get therapy sooner.
Sorry.
Get therapy sooner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was carrying so much childhood baggage and emotional problems that, from, the Arab Middle Eastern culture being really harsh and judgmental, and like that made me a certain way. So I was doing art for the wrong reasons, trying to get people's approval. But I guess if I had a conversation with 21-year-old me, I don't know. I would say be more willing to listen from people who are better than you. Because I was very arrogant, and I didn't want to acknowledge that people were better than me because I was too prideful. Of course, I'm different now, but back then I missed out on learning so much because I wouldn't admit it, right? And so Granted, I had teachers who were really good, and I learned from them. But my biggest problem was, I think, my ego, and so I would say find a way to get rid of that so I can actually learn more.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. So man, thank you so much for spending the time. This is true honor for me. I mean, I'm so lucky to be able to talk with you and the others I've been talking to. You're like one of those, like I said to Thomas Fluharty, one of those heroes, from the internet. No, that's for sure. I mean,
muchas gracias.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
en serio. Lo digo de verdad. No lo diría si no lo sintiera. I hope you understand. I hope you understood.
Un poquito, sí. Lo verdad, I heard that word in there.
Yeah. No, I was saying I have no compromise to say that. I mean, I'm saying it because
thank you so much.
I really believe that. So,
well, hey, man, we're all in this together. We're brothers and artists, and we're a big family.
Absolutely, love it, man. Thank you again so much, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it would be cool to have you on my channel sometime once I'm done with all this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know, and it will be again a big pleasure.
Yeah, voy a practicar el español para que we speak in Spanish.
Yeah, please, because I don't speak English.
Your English is very good, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's like I hope I'm not talking too fast.
No. I understand. You have a last thing. Last how do you say? Well, I don't know what's the word, but you have a great voice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's like people from radio. You say like. Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, for sure.
All right, from now on, I'm going to talk like this. And
Great. Ahmed, big hug, man.
Dude, thanks so much. This was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.